What is going on, fight fans? So, wow, Jake Paul, oh my gosh. Jake Paul is trying to call out KSI to fight because it looks like Alex Wasabi is out due to a concussion, I believe. Let's go ahead and dive right in. All right, so Jake Paul put out a series of tweets and videos telling KSI, hey man, I see that your fight has been has taken a hit because Alex Wasabi will not be available for him to fight. So I'm available for you to fight. Now I know a lot of criticism is coming right at Jake Paul for this because it's like, hey, fight a real boxer. But you gotta understand that prize fighting is money and fighting. It's prize fighting. The two have to come together for it to make sense. He's not gonna fight a regular schmegular low, fight or low quality boxer without some sort of a buildup. Hasim Rahman Jr., in my opinion, would have beaten Jake Paul, and I predicted a first round knockout of Hasim Rahman Jr. knocking out Jake Paul because this was too big of a step up. But he still was unknown. There still needed to be some sort of a buildup to that fight, so he couldn't just grab another boxer and fight them. Now he's agreeing to fight KSI. Money-wise, it makes sense. In terms of his journey and development-wise, it does not make sense. I do not understand why he would fight KSI when this will be a massive step back. It's really only to kind of make sure he gets that. It almost feels like he's trying to just make sure he gets that under his belt. I fought KSI so nobody could say anything, and I beat him, right? Because KSI is undefeated, remarkably, in the YouTube space. He hasn't lost. He had a draw with Logan Paul. He beat, I forgot the first person he beat, which was the first kind of the whole YouTube boxing thing sparked because of KSI's fight with that first guy he fought. He beat him soundly. Then he fought Logan Paul, was a draw. Then he fought him for a third time in an actual professional bout, and he won. So with that being said, he is now fighting Alex Wasabi. Alex Wasabi got the concussion. He can't fight. KSI, Jake Paul's thinking, okay, since I don't have to fight anymore, since I've been training, since he's been training, let's go ahead and fight KSI. Now, KSI has responded. He has responded, and this is what he said. In general terms, I'm not going to fight you because I am not prepared to train I have not trained for you. I've trained for Alex Wasabi. If we ever fight, it's going to be in Wembley Stadium or something, and it's going to be me training specifically for you. And I believe KSI said that he has a replacement for Alex Wasabi, so his fight will still continue. But the thing that's interesting is that Jake Paul decided to do it for free, $0 on the purse. He's also deciding to pay the purse of the person that is the replacement for KSI. This is how much Jake Paul wants to fight. And he's willing to fight on all terms, 180 pounds, where KSI is located in the UK, all of that stuff. So it's a very interesting dynamic. In my humble opinion, I believe that this is a step way backwards for Jake Paul. He's so many leagues ahead already of KSI. He's fought actual combat athletes, granted not boxers, but he has fought combat athletes. I think that the only step that Jake Paul can make now is fighting a real boxer with low wins, not that many wins or whatever. Maybe somebody tied to a professional from the past, like he did with Hasim Rahman Jr. Give that person a little bit of credibility, build that person up a little bit more, just like they did with Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury was slightly unknown. He got built up because of the whole Jake Paul fiasco. Do that same thing they've been doing with Hasim Rahman Jr. Get more time to do it, build it up, have somebody that doesn't have that many pro fights in there, but he's an actual boxer. And then I think he could start moving up from there. If his goal is to eventually fight Canelo Alvarez in 2 years, which I highly doubt he'll be able to do, but if his goal is to do that, he needs to start fighting real boxers. My only thought on the KSI thing is that he's just trying to check that off the list, make sure that he avenges his brother's loss, say that he fought him so he never has to worry about him again, since the stars, to him, I think in his mind, the stars align. Alex Osabi's out, Hasim Rahman Jr. is out, here's KSI, let's go ahead and make it happen. But in my opinion, he needs to forget about that. We all know how that will play out. He will win the fight. It will be very easy for him to win the fight. I could easily see him do it. And simply put, he needs to start fighting actual boxers now moving forward, or you can't go backwards. If you're going to fight somebody, you could fight maybe Nate Diaz or something, but you can't go backwards all the way back to KSI like you're just doing YouTube boxing now all of a sudden. That's my thoughts on it. What do you guys think down below? Now, keep in mind, this is not me saying that, you know, what he's doing, that he's horrible for boxing. I still think Jake Paul is fantastic for boxing, because to me, marketing and eyeballs matter more than anything. If you innovate the sport in any degree and you bring more eyeballs to it, kudos to you, because that just helps the sport grow. It becomes a gateway to the full breadth of the sport for younger generations, because younger generations weren't even looking at boxing. They didn't even, that it was invisible to them until Jake Paul. And now it can open their eyes to the Errol Spencers and the Terrence Crawfords and the Roman Chocolatitos of the world and all these different people. It can open their eyes to other boxers. It can be a gateway to the sport itself. So I do like what Jake Paul represents, but I do think that he needs to at least stay the course or take it one step further, which would be fighting a real boxer or staying the course like fighting Nate Diaz or something. All right, guys, until the next one, peace out.